Hey everybody, it's Tiffany and welcome back to Broke Girl Aesthetic. In today's video, I'm going to showcase my top 10 fall crafts that I've ever done on this channel. I thought I would share them with you. These are the ones that really just, I don't know, they just meant something to me. Fall is my favorite season, and if you've been on my channel, you've probably noticed that it's the one season that I've leaned into more than anything else when it comes to stuff that I've made. So I wanted to share with you guys what my favorite ones are. So let's go ahead and jump into this list. This one's from a couple years ago. I found a this grapevine wreath at the thrift store, and I just kind of had it stuck in my stash for a couple 3 4 years, I don't know. So what I decided to do was, with another thrift store haul that I had, I would just take this one apart and redo it for fall. So after I stripped everything down and laid out all of my stuff, repurposed some stuff from that wreath and some others, including the bow, all of this stuff, and I'll just shove it in there. I just take random bits and bobs and just start kind of sticking it in that grapevine wreath. If it was pretty old and pretty fragile. A lot of it was breaking apart, so I had to be careful with it, hot gluing as I went along with some of those parts, but mostly just making things, just putting them willy-nilly. You can see it's kind of starting to take shape. I've used some of the ones from the original wreath, taking some other pieces. No rhyme or reason where I'm sticking these, just where I think they'll look good. Mixing up different flowers, different colors, pretty much anything that was orange or yellow or brown or whatever. Making sure when I cut these picks apart to leave some stem to stick in there in some of those places. Here on these leaves, they were just those pieces, so I stuck some wire in some of them and hot glued down what I needed to hot glue. Adding some pine cones in here. These will get hot glued as well. Taking some of this strange ribbon that was on the bow that was on the original one. It's almost like a burlap type thing. I don't know. So I'm just remaking that bow. Taking some of that wire that was already on it, twisting it up there. Just a simple little bow. And with another piece of that same strange ribbon, because there were two, stretching that apart, trying to reshape it a little. Again, it was old when I got it, and it sat in my stash for several years. So just trying to reshape this wired ribbon stuff to fill out this bow that I'm making. Just smashing it together. Nothing fancy. This was not a very well thought out bow. So I have the two pieces and just put them together. And that looks really cool. And then I took the other bow that was on there and remade that. And I just stick it right back on here. And that's how it turned out. That one was really easy and fun, and I just worked with stuff that I already had. Now this one was just kind of a spur of the moment thing, just to see what I could come up with. And I took this Dollar Tree sign from many moons ago as well, took it apart. We're going to redo it. Wait, what's a Dollar Tree? Might have been Dollar General. I don't know. It was $1, by the way. So I'm just taking it all apart. So using a piece of orange cardstock, I covered the front where the paper was on the pumpkin, the design that was on there. I just glued it down, and I'm just trimming around to, clean up those edges. And then I painted the other side with the Waverly chalk paint in white. And with the Cricut, I'm just cutting out a cute little Hello Fall, just some orange permanent vinyl. And just to zhuzh it up a little bit, just taking some of these maple leaves and sunflowers and whatnot, just to decorate a little bit. Hot glue them down. So that part's done. The only thing I need to do is add the base to the bottom, back to the bottom. I can just carefully slide it back in there. And there it is. Cute little table decor. Now onto this next one. I am cutting out, what am I cutting out? I'm cutting out pumpkins. I'm cutting out pumpkins with my Cricut. I use just cereal box, cardboard, and Mod Podge, and making layers of this cardboard, because then it is pretty darn thick, like chipboard is, you know, and really sturdy. Yes, I'm drilling a hole through it. And you can do that with this stuff. It's that sturdy once you glue all those layers together. So I'm going to make a bead garland, and this is going to be my little tag at the end. So I've got my hole drilled there, you can see. So next I will paint them using some home decor chalk paint. I'm using apple barrel, also jack-o'-lantern. I painted them white first, and then I just used the orange and painted them orange. Then I'm going to paint some beads, and I painted those with sage, I think it was. Forest moss, that's what it is. The folk art acrylic forest moss for those, and then the folk art home decor wax and antique for the little beads and the backs and the edges of the pumpkins. And with a little tassel on the end, there is my bead garland. I made two, one for me and one for my mom, for our fall decorating. This one is a pretty fun one. Okay, so I got two of the styrofoam balls from the Dollar Tree, and if you recognize that ribbony, ropey looking thing there, it's one of those hats from the Dollar Tree that I disassembled. I call it my hat rope, or rope of hat, whatever. So I'm going to take that styrofoam ball and I'm going to turn it into a pumpkin, and I'm going to wrap it up with my hat rope. Just making a little hole for my stem. Is that for my stem? No, to flatten the bottom. So it'll sit up. It's been 2 years, I think, since I did this one. Maybe more. My channel is 3 years old now. Yeah, it's been 2 years, so just flatten it out a little bit so it'll sit on the table or whatever. And then a hole for the stem. So I'm going to tuck the first end into that hole where the stem is going to go. And that will be like my starting point. And I just wrap it around, crisscrossing here and there as needed. And I go all the way around. And there it is. That part is finished. I just kind of spread it out a little better. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Folk Art Home Decor chalk paint in Vintage Mustard and paint the whole thing. And that looks pretty cool, but it's still missing a stem. And I didn't paint the bottom. So for my stem, I just took one of the mini tumbling tower blocks from the Dollar Tree, cut it down a little bit, and again with the Folk Art Home Decor wax and antique. And I'm going to take just a little sprig of leaves from a flower and stick in there first, and then hot glue it all together. And that's that. Just a cute, easy little pumpkin. Here I'm just painting a gourd that I have. And I'm going to mix these two colors, the Folk Art Forest Moss and then the Terracotta and Cavern Moss. And I'm going to mix these two colors together to paint this gourd. Now, this was a gourd that my mom had for years, just a long time. I've never been any good at drying gourds, so if anybody has a secret to that, please leave it down in the comments below because I would love to be able to dry some of my own and I never could figure it out. But I thought this was really cool. This thing is super old and I wanted to give it new life. So that's what I'm going to do. I believe I sprayed it first with a clear sealer before I painted it, just to make sure that it wouldn't damage the thing. French gray from Folk Art acrylic, I added to that as well to try to get that sagey greeny color that I was looking for this. And this took a couple of coats, but it turns out really good. To top that off, I'm using the Folk Art Antique Gold Metallic Acrylic Paint just for the bottom and the little tip there. Kind of like those ones that you find, at the store that have the gold stems or whatever. And that's pretty much all there was to this one. So I have these signs that I've picked up. Obviously you can tell from the mason jar, that's a Dollar Tree one. We're going to strip that one down. And then this welcome sign my mom had picked up on clearance at Dollar General, I believe. So we're going to use the two. So I scraped everything off. I took all the paper off, took all that stuff off of there. And we have the back side there too. So I'm going to use the pumpkins from that welcome sign. So what I'm going to do is I want to align the pumpkins at the bottom of the jar, as it were. So I'm going to paint this whole thing in the Waverly White chalk paint. And I'm going to go over with the terracotta in a clay pot on the pumpkins. And I'm using the outdoor formula from Mod Podge on this. It's going to go on my door, but it doesn't really get anything. But I just want some extra protection. So just using the Cricut, I have an Explorer Air 2. And just some orange permanent vinyl to cut out my greeting, as it were. And just simply welcome fall. So just getting the layout there, and I will put the vinyl down. I'm going to use the Waverly chalk paint in Elephant to do the top part of the jar there. I have found when I am trying to transfer the vinyl onto a painted surface that I'm terrible at it pulling the paint up. So if I put Mod Podge down and let that cure first, I don't have that problem. Just a fun little hack for you. Once those are transferred, now I'm just going to pop some hot glue on there. Understanding that it probably won't stay because it's metal, but that's okay. It's not going to get that much damage that I have to worry about it. And I'll just put those little bows right back on. And it covers up the holes perfectly because that's where they were in the first place. So that's that. I'll just need to attach a hanger and a bow, which I'm going to use this, which one am I using? I don't remember. I make a bow. Oh, and I added some swag to it too. So I will make a little mini swag out of these picks that I picked up from the uh, Dollar Tree as well, I think. Just using a twist tie to put them around there. Nothing hugely special, just a little mini swag. I'll put the bow in the center and the hanger on the back. I'm just using the one that it came with and putting it right back on there. And that's that one. And it turned out super cute too. All right, now this one is very special to me. That piece was made by my grandfather eons ago. And my mom gave it to me. She said, do what you will. I said, well, I don't want to damage it in any way in case, I want to have it later in life. So I'm going to take some scrapbook paper in a in that same kind of greeny color, that sagey greeny color. And I'm going to cover both sides of this pumpkin with the scrapbook paper, as you can see there. And then the other side will have the other piece of scrapbook paper. So they're complementing pages, but they're different patterns or whatever. So I just cut that out and get that glued on to both sides. And I will use is that oatmeal, I think? The Folk Art Home Decor Chalk Paint Oatmeal, I think it is, because it looks almost perfect to the to the paper. So I'm just painting the edges with that. And then the bottom part I will paint in that forest moss. That's kind of like the color of the day, I guess. And using some gold vinyl and my Cricut to cut out my sayings for this. This went on my Thanksgiving table, and I came up with a saying for each side. So that way, when you have the people and they're all waiting for the food, and you're tired of telling them, hey, it's not ready, it's not ready, it's not ready, you can just point to the sign and say, look. And then when it's done, you can tell them that it's finished, and then they'll see it, and then they'll know it's time to come and eat. The the two different sayings are you have to wait. I think it says you have to wait to grab your, yeah, you gotta wait to grab your plate. And then the second one says, take your seat, it's time to eat. So here I'm just applying to this very carefully. Luckily, this transfer paper is kind of a low tack, so it wasn't pulling up any of my scrapbook paper. So that was very nice. And realizing on camera, you can't really see the words, but it's a metallic vinyl, so you can see you can see the letters. It just has to hit it not in this light, I guess. And I did end up painting the pumpkin. Yep, you gotta wait to grab your plate. So did I use Mod Podge? I didn't think I did. Anyway, just a little Mod Podge around the edges to hold it down. I didn't do anything in the center, just to keep it in place. Then I'll let that dry. And it kind of messed up the paper a little bit when I put the thing back on there, but that's okay because we're going to hide it with some jute twine. So I just wrap some jute twine around the bottom and tack it down with a couple little dabs of hot glue. And we're going to add just a little pizzazz and put some floral stuffies up there. Just a leaf and a flower and some wheat looking stuff. I don't know. And put a little maple leaf in here. And then this is pretty much done. It's just something fun to repurpose an old decoration into something just a little different. Take your seat, it's time to eat. You gotta wait to grab your plate. And now I'm going to make a gnome because I had to make a gnome. And this guy is super cute. So with all this stuff, I have already a body made for my gnome. And I think I have like 3 or 4 stashed. So all I'm going to do is just take this old napkin. And this is going to be like a no-sew minimal glue thing. So I don't ruin my napkins. So to make the body, I use a sock and some, I think, rice or pinto beans or something. And I wrapped the napkin around it, tucking it nicely, and I'm just using a hair tie. So using the hair tie to hold it together there at the top, just wrapped it around the body of the gnome, and now I've got it's that Dollar Tree car wash cloth thing. It's real fuzzy. So I'm going to use the furriest side. Just taking I took a rough measurement of where I want to cut it. I kind of want it to go quite a ways around and not be real small. So now that I have that, I'm going to take these adhesive Velcro dots that I got from Amazon ages ago. And that's how I'm going to hold the beard on because they're just like sticky. They're just sticky. It's not going to damage the napkin. It's not going to damage anything. I don't have to sew it. Just stick it on there and that's that. So it was so easy. So for the hat, I just made it, a triangle cone hat thing. Just give it a little roll. Meet the seams there, or meet the seam, yeah. Meet the ends, glue it together. And just taking some like mop yarn to go around the bottom of the hat, just to give it a little something else. And gluing that on the hat. So for the beard, I guess I actually ended up deciding to glue this same mop yarn down onto that white backdrop. I got another layer of that on there. So I can just Velcro it right back on. And I know I said no, I think I said no glue. I should have said minimal glue. I'm not gluing on the napkin at all. And there's my little hat. We'll just hang that right there on his head, and it is already adorable. So I will just glue the nose to the hat. So he could be done just like this, just a little brownie, earthy gnome. But as you can see here, I'm trimming off the ends a little bit. I gave him a really long beard. I've got him all fluffed out. And I'm going to just add some random stuff to him. Glue a little pine cone on here for him. And another little bit of cotton there. Some leaves. Some fluff. That little yellow stuff is supposed to look like pollen. I think of all the gnomes I've made, and I've said this at the time, this is one of my top favorites. My actual favorite gnome that I've done is my Christmas guy. And I think this is my last one. This was part of a mystery box challenge. Somebody sent me the turkey. I think it was a Dollar Tree find. So we're just going to do another sign, and yeah. To me, just deciding where to glue it down. The first things first, I'm going to stain my wood round with the Folk Art Home Decor wax in antique. So once that's done, now I can work on the turkey. Before I had an orange color that I liked, I kept trying to find the perfect orange. I'm a stickler for orange color. I have one that I like, just one orange color that I absolutely love, and it's like a burnt orange. And none of my paint were burnt orange, so this is me attempting to make my own shade of burnt orange with all of my different reds and oranges that I have. Uh, I don't even remember which all ones I used. I used the pumpkin orange, and I used a red, and I used a different orange, just mixing what I could in here. It doesn't show up too well on this video, but it's pretty much the color I was looking for. So I'm going to paint my bird. Yeah, there you can see it better. Paint the bird with this orange. So now the sky is painted. We're going to let him dry. And now that he's dry, it's time to attach him to the back. And now it's time to add some stuff. So just using some of my picks from my stash. I'm going to make another little mini swag to go on here. Just wrapping these up with some wire. And this ribbon, glittery, obnoxious ribbon. I don't remember which store. One of the dollar stores I think it came from. The wired ribbon for the bow and also some burlap ribbon. I'll just cut them all into separate pieces, wire them into a bow. Now I'm just taking a scrap piece of, I don't know what that is, shim maybe, just a thin piece of wood to hold everything on. Because I want it at the bottom, not at the top. I just glue my picks onto that piece of wood, glue the piece of wood, oh, and the bow, and then glue the piece of wood down onto the sign. It's kind of out of frame. There we go. Now I have those two pieces glued on, and now I can put the bow on. And just glue a glittery pumpkin down in the center. And of course we needed some words, so with my Cricut, I'm just cutting out, what do I put? Gobble gobble, I think. Oh, just Happy Thanksgiving. So that's what I put on there. Okay, I couldn't remember. There it just says, hey, Happy Thanksgiving, and now I can glue the swag to the bottom. And then gluing down a length of cord, cover it up with a piece of that burlap ribbon for some extra support. And there we have it. It is super cute and my favorite of this list. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know which one's your favorites. Hope you guys enjoyed this 10 crafts list. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great weekend, y'all. Take care. Bye.